Hello everyone, my name is Margaret McMenamin and I'm the author behind The Caretaking Home. I wanted to start off by just thanking you for visiting this blog, for reading the posts, and showing your support and encouragement in that way. It means a lot, I know, as a caretaker, and if you're looking into caregiving, your time is very precious. And so I appreciate you spending time reading my blog. Over the past several months, I have shared posts with you about product recommendations, different tips and tricks of the trade, and also given some interviews with other caretakers to give you some perspective and to give you some ideas of what they do, and hopefully you can learn from their experiences or get more information, whatever the case may be. But today, I wanted to share with you my personal experience with caregiving and also close with just a few lessons that I've learned through caregiving. My background is filled with different opportunities with caretaking. We were growing up in a very big family, and my parents always tried to practice that biblical principle of honoring their parents. And for them, that meant taking care of them in their old age, especially. So when I was about 11, we moved in with my dad's mom, and we took care of her for several years until she passed, working with her as far as getting her to appointments, taking care of her physically from right first thing in the morning through the night. And it was really a family endeavor. We all helped in different ways, and it was something that we did as a family to help my grandmother through her final years. And after she passed a few years later, my mom's parents moved in with us, and we're actually currently taking care of them as they are in our home. But in addition to that, there have been several people along the way from our church and from our community that we've had the privilege of helping take care of. And so caregiving has been all up in my background, and it's been something that's very familiar to me. So when I was looking for a job for my summers in between semesters, caretaking just seemed like a natural option. And so I started searching, and a woman in my church actually asked me and said, "Hey, would you take care of my mom for the summer? She's 98 and she needs some help with just personal care, with getting to her appointments, and just companionship." And so we set up a meeting, and I started working for Maud Miller, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. And I can honestly say that, when we think about caretaking, we tend to think of us serving someone else. And that is true, and that is what most of this is. But at the same time, there's the opposite side of that. As far as developing relationships with these people has taught me many things. And so I wanted to also share those things with you through this just very quick video about some of my personal experience with that. So when I first met Maud, we decided to meet for lunch at a diner to just get to know each other, and she could meet me and see if she wanted to hire me as a potential caretaker. And we spent about 3 hours, I believe, talking. And most of the conversation was about me. And that was one thing that she definitely taught me, was living a good life is centering your life on other people. And when she did hire me, I would go over her house and we would talk for hours upon hours. And I loved hearing about her background, and I loved hearing about what she had done in her life and just talking about day-to-day things. But I remember leaving every day and just thinking, wow, we talked about me a lot, and feeling guilty sometimes, but realizing that she genuinely cared about me and always was trying to figure out how I was doing. If I was nervous about an accounting test, or if I was scared about something going on in my family, she was always there to support me and always ask questions and followed up with that. And that was one lesson that I definitely learned through this process, was just being able to listen to people and being able to be there for them and asking questions is such a huge help. And it is a big aspect, honestly, of living a good life. In addition to that, Maud also taught me that a good life means appreciating the simple things in life. And this is something that is true of all caretaking. As people age, big things become really hard to do. And so we always try to highlight those little things, a drive, just driving around with a cup of coffee and being able to see the changing colors during the fall, or being able to just go for a drive and just relax, or getting a cup of coffee and just talking with someone. Those are big events when you are taking care of someone. Those are big events for them. They have to prep themselves for that. And so they really appreciate just little things. And that was something that she taught me through this experience, that living a good life means listening to others and being there for others, but also just appreciating the simple things. Life doesn't have to be filled with great events and all of these different things to be a good life. And that was something that I definitely appreciated through working with her. And finally, Maud taught me that living a good life is also a big part of that is just encouraging others. When I would take Maud to the hairdresser, that was one of the big events that we would do. She would walk in, and you would just think that she was a movie star by the welcome that she would receive. She was always super popular there, and I remember one day I was sitting in the waiting room just reading my book, and one of the hairdressers came out and said, "You know, you have the best job ever, right?" And I completely agreed with her. I really did. And so when I was there, I realized that when she would walk back with the hairdresser and things like that, that she would always ask them how things were going, how their cancer treatments were going, how this other hairdresser's daughter was, she had just been in a recital, and she remembered all these things. And she was such an encouragement to them. And when I would take her to the doctor's office, it was the same thing. Or when I would take her to church or different experiences like that, she was always encouraging people. And so when I was working with Maud, there were three main things that I learned. And that was listening to others is a huge aspect of just living a good life, and appreciating the simple things is also a part of that. Learning that we don't have to be doing something phenomenal every single day to be having an enjoyable life. And then finally, working with Maud also showed me that part of living a good life is encouraging others. And just to wrap all of this up, something that I was thinking about with all of those things that I've learned through taking care of her was that it was all based on a love for Christ and a love for her relationship with the Lord. And that was something that fueled her passion for helping others and her desire to see other people succeed. And that was something that I think is also a notable aspect of living a good life, is developing that relationship with others. And so while caretaking is very much about others, and it is very much about helping those people through these things, there is also so much that we can learn as caretakers from the people that we take care of. Just listening to them and hearing their stories and getting advice from them. They have so much advice to give. And so I just wanted to encourage you with that, as caretaking can be a difficult path. It can be very trying and emotionally sometimes and such, but there is so much benefit in it just by listening to someone talk and hearing about the things that they learned in their life. So I hope this was an encouragement to you and helps you get to know me a little bit better and a little bit like that. But I just wanted to thank you again for visiting this blog and for your continued support. So thank you very much and have a good day.